All right. I cut out a lot of this, but I wanted to read you guys the journal of a detective from back in 1906 from a place that my father was born in Stockton, California. And that's sort of how I came to know about this because he would tell us this story about this haunted downtown area where the ghost of a man who was shoved in a suitcase still haunts there. And people to this day will swear up and down that they see ghosts or feel things or whatever. So I went back, I looked up this detective who, for all accounts, it says anonymous, but it is still in the Stockton Police Department's possession in the evidence. So take that for what it's worth. But this is his written out words. It's not like somebody just came up with it. This legitimately was from back in 1906.
No, I don't believe it.
Okay.
Who wrote it?
We don't know.
Your mom.
It's literally says anonymous. But
That's who wrote it.
but
That's
the police
guy's name.
say it was one of the
group
detectives from back then.
Anonymous. They were active back in 1906. Duh.
The real secret society is anonymous, not the Masons.
Or the
Freemasons,
not the
you boy.
Illuminati.
Yeah. Emma Ledoux. Because I don't want to say her name how I think it is. Either way, he writes that this case began in March 1906, Stockton, California, where I was called to the Southern Pacific Railroad Depot because of the smell.
He was called to it because of the smell?
Yeah.
Was it a bad smell?
Yes.
Why would you go investigate a bad smell?
He's the detective.
Oh.
That's
Kind of his job. Why? Just use your thinking brain.
Yeah, I wasn't paying attention.
So he gets there and he is upset because, quote, why am I being called for just the smell?
Wait, why is he going to the smell?
Because it smells bad. He records, he stepped out and he smelled a heavy, sweet sickness. I guess that's how they wrote back then. Coming from one of the trunks.
That's a good band name. Sweet Sickness.
That would be a cool band name. All right, we're changing the podcast name to Sweet Sickness.
No, we aren't.
Are you down with the sickness?
The Sweet Snake.
I'm a snake. I'm a snake.
All right, we're derailing.
Shut up.
True. Back to investigating the sweet sickness.
So he gets called because of the smell coming out of one of the trunks at the depot. This was back in the day where people would just unload the cargo off the trains and you would just go pick it up, kind of like our modern day of an airport type deal. Nobody claimed this one, and when he got...
Baggage claim.
Yeah. Nobody claimed this one, though. And he's seeing a bunch of people come off the trains, get back onto trains, and literally the smell was so bad, he records that it was like a perfect circle was around it because nobody wanted to get near it. So he goes there, he gets the bag, and he said everything looks normal. The wood on it was worn, the brass latches were a bit worn, but it was big enough for somebody to basically move enough stuff across the country where they could start a new life. So it was not a small trunk. It was pretty big.
It was a 12 by 14 suitcase.
Basically.
12 foot by 14.
He said...
Big enough to put a smelly gaster in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nothing about it announces a murder, but that was the trouble. Some people says that this has been there for days. Some people say it came off the last train. I don't know, but it smells. So he grabs the trunk, and it is incredibly heavy. he can't move it by himself very easily, so he calls one of the train.
That's why no one stole it, because it's too heavy.
It's too
He's
heavy.
a weak man.
He calls one of the baggage attendants over and says, "We need to open this up. I'm a police officer. Here's my badge." And he says, quote, "I remember the small metallic click," because that's when the whole place changed. He opens up, and inside was stuffed a man. Full-grown man. Not a smidget.
Oof.
A full-grown man. Not cut up either. Bones broken to fit inside.
Ugh. Yeah.
So, yeah. It was as if he was pushed into the box, broken in certain places as to fit his whole body into the shape of a box.
Ugh.
Upon
So we're talking like a maybe like a 2 foot by 4 foot wide chest.
something like that. I couldn't get dimensions for it.
Ugh.
Upon inspection of the man,
Maybe we need to put a disclaimer for this.
yeah, we might. Upon inspection of the man, it is revealed that his identification cards belong to one Albert McVar, or McVicar, McVicar. At the moment, I can only assume this is the man. Upon looking at the manifest for the previous trains that had come in within the span of the last week, no one has been on a train with that name. So I can only conclude someone has murdered or pronounced him dead and tried to ship him to Stockton, California.
It was so much easier to get away with crimes back then.
Yes.
Dude, your investigative skills had to be next level
Yeah.
in order to.
Like being able to smell
Solve
something
crimes.
is bad.
Yeah. So he writes, someone had shipped him away. Someone had believed the distance could erase their guilt, but someone had looked at a dead man and decided that he could become luggage. This is my first breadcrumb, the body. And then he goes into how he took the body to a mortician, and they called for a doctor, and they tried to do a biopsy. But obviously back in 1906, it's not anything like what we have today. So they couldn't really tell him much other than...
Here's the problem. He was bent to fit into a box.
That's how he died.
Hope this helps.
So he concludes we cannot deduce that anything has been done to this man other than the breaking of bones.
Literally what Jeremy just said.
Yeah, literally. He concludes in his notes about the trunk. Someone bought it. Someone carried it. Someone loaded it, and someone saw it. Very easy stuff. This is not Sherlock we're dealing with here.
Yeah.
The opposite of what you said, maybe.
So this detective was
skills, very basic.
The way he writes is he's like a little superstitious or religious, because he writes, every object remembers a little bit, even if it cannot speak. So if I follow the trunk backwards, perhaps I will find the killer. So he goes back to the depot and he begins to talk to everybody who touched the crate. He finds that it was two younger men that had to take the crate off because it was very heavy. And they said that they got it from the train conductor at the back of the caboose of train whatever. They couldn't tell me exactly which one it was, either train 4 or train 16. We don't know. He goes to the conductor, says, "Where did you get this at?" He says, "I picked it up at the California Hotel."
Hotel California.
Which that has its own little things about how that song was based off of this. But that's not fact. That's just hearsay.
That's a fact. Something I just made up now.
Actually, it's a fact.
So he says, this is where the case has changed for me. The depot was where the truth escaped, and the hotel is where the truth has been locked inside. Hotels are strange places. They are built for temporary lives. People sleep in rooms where strangers have cried all night, and they whisper through thin walls. They sign false names, and they leave before sunrise.
Strangers sit there all night and cry.
Yeah.
He says,
when you go to your next hotel, that's what you should think. Someone's cried in this room.
he said, a hotel room can hide almost anything for a little while, but not from me. He's very confident.
It's just like one of those monologues of the detectives, black and white movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is what it sounds like.
Yeah. So he does a double take of the crate or the luggage piece. He can't find a name on there, so he goes over the whole manifest of the train, takes notes of everybody who's there. Then he goes to he contacts the hotel, gets all the names of people who were registered there. One name pops out, Emma Ledoux. Don't know what she looks like. Actually, I forgot to put that graphic up, but that's what AI thinks she looks like. Anyhow,
Of course.
yeah, very black and white. But she,
That's racist.
upon investigating her a little bit, he finds out that she was connected to Albert, and some people knew her as his wife. So he's like, okay, maybe this is a crime of passion, dear Watson. And he would later study her out and find that she was tied to one of Stockton's most infamous crimes later on. So they think, okay, I know who it is.
Stockton's been a crime-ridden place ever since the beginning.
Yep, that's where my dad was born.
Makes sense.
Yep, that was a crime. So he says, okay, maybe we have a connection here because she's supposed to be on the train. She did not get off the train, so maybe she just purchased the ticket, gave the luggage, and never got on the train.
I thought you were going to say, so maybe she's still on the train.
Good detective work.
He continues to write. He says, a murder is not only about who did it. It's about the room. It's about the silence, the minutes before, and the decision after. Many people think this is just nonsense and him trying to sound really smart because whatever that means.
He's just narrating his own movie.
Yeah.
At this point.
He said, I stood in the hotel and tried to imagine the hours before the trunk arrived. Albert alive, his wife Emma nearby, a private room, a closed door, maybe a drink, and maybe a conversation. Maybe Trust sitting at the table right up before he is fatally killed. Later accounts would say that Albert was indeed poisoned. So he is... This is like years later when the body's finally gotten to better medical attention.
Go. I was trying not to interrupt you, but I was trying to do my vocal stem here.
Go for it. He says, I deduce that a man lifts a glass, he swallows, he does the ordinary thing of his life, and then the room goes quiet. That is the part where no newspaper can truly describe the quiet after. What does the killer hear then? Footsteps in the hallway, the city outside, their own breathing, or perhaps something else? Because after the death came the decision. No panic, no planning. Find the trunk, get the body inside, close the lid, buy the ticket, and say goodbye.
If she did that, you realize how much force it takes to break a femur?
Yes, that's what he's getting to. He says, upon our inspection of the body, many broken bones had to be, many broken bones had to take place to fit inside the crate. Therefore, she must have accomplices.
Or she's just a really strong woman.
They didn't believe in strong women back then.
That's their problem.
All women are stronger than
time.
men. This is known fact.
Yeah.
So
he goes and arrests her.
listen, here's my thought process. This is kind of derailed, kind of not. Sorry.
Do it.
of course, as we know, rigor mortis and all that, right?
Yeah.
In the process of decomposition, if a body's laying flat, all the blood pools to the back.
Yeah.
If she let him lay there for a long period of time, all the blood pools to the back. If you hit his leg with a hammer to break the leg, of course it's going to make a mark on the skin.
Sure.
But would it make a bruise?
I don't think so. I think you would just see an indention
Yeah. That's my thought process.
because there's nothing to push the blood there.
Yeah.
So, she is later arrested, tried for her crimes, but she has an alibi, which the detective deduces that was her actual accomplice. So she claims that Albert got on a train to go to Stockton for business and was never seen again. That's where his whole place in the story ends. Now, after all of this happens, he later retires, and that's where they said that he gave his journal to them, hoping that it would eventually be solved or whatever. But we know that she got away free. So obviously something didn't plan or go to plan. So that kind of is messed up. Now, where it comes into more modern times, there are 4 or 3 main places that they keep seeing Albert. Like, people describe him, and by all accounts, it looks like Albert. There's a thrift shop that this has no credibility whatsoever, but it's part of it. The show Ghost Hunters. Yeah.
Oh my god.
They went there because whatever, and apparently they got some audio clippings of Albert's name being said on audio, whatever. I don't necessarily believe all their hoopla and all that. But that is one place that many, many people have said, and obviously this could be just people wanting to be part of it, but they said that if you stay in there past midnight, somebody will eventually come up behind you and pull your hair. It's happened many times.
Doing a yaga.
Yes.
Yaga.
The next place is everybody's heard of Bob Hope, right?
Bob Hope? No.
Old-timey actor, very big in Hollywood. He has a theater dedicated to him. And a lot of people say that the Bob Hope Theater constantly gets cold spots and visual ghosts going through there. And one of them is Albert. Take that for what it is. But the one place that keeps getting it is the Main Street Hotel. And it's sort of like that one hotel that you see in New York that everybody makes videos of. I can't think of the name right now, but
Hampton.
the Hampton Inn.
I mean, that's a hotel.
Yeah. No, there's one in New York. I can't think of it, but this has similar accounts of where like people will go into a room and then they can't get out, and then they'll feel like they've spent hours and hours and hours in there, and when they finally are able to make their way out of the room, it's been like 2 minutes.
A time slip.
Yeah, weird stuff like that. This one is directly tied to his wife because his wife used that hotel many times, and that could be their supernatural way of saying, oh, she was here. But I think the moral of the story is she seemed like a very evil woman because she then took all of his money and disappeared.
According to AI, she doesn't look like an evil woman.
Yeah, she does. Look at that.
She looks like Wednesday.
Yeah, grown up Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
If you saw that person just standing in the middle of your room,
Well,
Fight.
first of all,
300 blackout.
anybody standing in the middle of my room is going to look evil.
They're gonna freak you out.
Yeah, especially if they're not supposed to be there.
Okay, I have a weird dream that I had last night.
I had an extremely weird dream the other day.
I had a dream that it was us three and a bunch of other people that I know them. We were in a house and we were watching like this devil figure go around the house trying to get in.
Nice.
And I was like, I kept saying, "Where are the guns?" And I don't know why. And Jeremy was like, "You just got to pray."
True.
So we both had our modes of attack there, but it was very freaky because I could see people outside and he was going after them, like just trying to get whatever. I was like, what in the world? This is weird. I don't understand it.
I had a dream last week or this week, I can't remember. But it was like me trying to sleep in the bed of my truck with my platform.
Okay.
But every time that I did, there'd be a group of little beings that would try to come up and then they would torment me to keep me from sleeping. And then I would get out and I would try to fight them and shoot at them. And then the banshees from Halo would come down.
What?
Would come down and start shooting at me and force me to get back into the truck for cover.
So it's a lose-lose situation.
Yeah. And so it was like this battle constant. And I would wake up and it was my body telling me it was a nightmare, you know, like my heart's pumping and I'm just like, I'm in fight or flight mode when I wake up. And then I realize what's happening. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's stupid. And then I fall back to sleep and I go right back into that dream again. It happened like 3-4 times. And it was like, it was just a constant stupid nightmare that lasted the whole night.
I've had those moments.
I was like, what is this?
You wake up, you go back to sleep, and it just
Yeah.
go right back into it. And you're like, ah.
Those are the weirdest when you're like, all right.
Like,
okay.
I can't describe the little creatures that were trying to come after me, but
Yeah.
but I specifically remember the banshees from Halo coming down and
Do you
shooting
guys
at me.
ever have like a nightmare that keeps recurring?
Yes.
I did one time.
We used to have this giant steeple. I don't know if I've ever said this.
We
on,
are so
on
off
here.
topic.
I'm done with my topic.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So she's the evil lady.